Howdy everybody, this video is brought to you by Stefan, and this is the thing he needs to express. Shouldn't something be said about the tricky ladies? They generally say that they're searching for a genuine man. Nonetheless, I found that they've really been switched off by genuineness. I don't mean unmitigated destructive genuineness. One model I can refer to is some time back when a lady really wanted me. I told her that I could never date her since she's not my sort, but rather I really would lay down with her. She got furious and off calling me a pig. I clarified to her that I might have cajoled her, took her to supper, got into her jeans and afterward told her that I wasn't keen on having something beyond intercourse. She handled that idea briefly and said, "No doubt, I suppose you're correct." It very well might be a terrible model. Nonetheless, I find regularly that the most obviously awful method for getting a lady's love is to come clean with her. Do you have any conclusions on this? Much thanks to you again for being a reference point of light in a world that is so handily blurred by the flagellants of monkey-expanding harlots. Keep doing awesome. Well, Stefan, without a doubt, you should have effectively taken advantage of this lady and laid down with her since you realized that she was drawn to you and she was making herself accessible. However, in my assessment, you really bombed the test. Most of intimate connections today start on the initial dates. On the off chance that on the first and on the off chance that you don't have intercourse with her, then you essentially bombed the test. Assuming you hold back to engage in bedroom relations with her so that you're 100% certain that she's into you, then you're a weakling in her eyes and furthermore a disappointment. By telling the lady you really wanted what was happening in your mind in a fair way, you additionally bombed the test. Telling the truth and circumspect is viewed as weak man conduct nowadays. In the event that you realized that she really wanted you, you would have breezed through this assessment. All things being equal, you requested intimacy by telling the truth and open about the circumstance. You never do that. You move in and give her a kiss and don't think back. If she says no or drives you away, you ease off. However, you really take the principal action and you never requested authorization. In any case, she as of now sees you as substandard in light of the fact that a strongman takes what he needs. You never let her in and have power, you simply take power. You don't really tell her what you're thinking. You keep your sentiments inside and you never share them. As of late, I watched the film La La Land, and you never see Ryan Gosling tell Emma Stone's personality that he cherishes her. Letting a lady know that you love her likewise implies you bombed the test. It implies that you're more vulnerable than she is. You were drawn to her, so you can't simply leave without warning. You were less strong. In the event that you show a lady any sort of shortcoming, you are the disappointment. The majority of the men in the past in some way knew all of this. However, presently, we're rediscovering it, yet in any event, when we understood that 90% of the communications we have with ladies are tests implied for us to fall flat or pass, there comes a figuring out in a man's life. Why bother with living to breeze through an endless flow of assessments so a lady doesn't trample you? I know some of you will say you must be a genuine man or whatever the damnation that implies and set ladies straight and satisfy your manliness. I right off the bat don't feel that each man knows that every communication with the lady is actually a test for his manliness. Second, in the event that a man knew his most memorable impulses breeze through every assessment by demonstrating his masculinity, but tragically he can't on the grounds that the regulations are piled facing him, and any way of behaving that is even marginally harmful will get a man tossed into prison, regardless of whether the lady started and liked it. Then, at that point, there are these tests where you pass by failing. For instance, a lady requests that you have intercourse without a condom. That to you is his test. Assuming you breeze through that assessment and take your Jimmy cap off and get her pregnant, you actually lose despite the fact that you finished the other's assessment. On occasion you bomb by passing, for instance, confronting your standards as a man just to be unloaded by a lady. She could regard you for staying consistent and laying down the law. But on the off chance that that specific conduct implies she won't get what she needs, you'll likely be accursed. She's actually going to kick you to the check. Additionally, assuming that you lay down with the lady not long after you meet her and pass her sexual test, you probably won't have really assembled sufficient insight about the lady, and you couldn't say whether she's insane or not. You don't put your groin in insane ladies, yet on the off chance that you stand by too long to put your groin in her, you bomb these tests. The explanation is there are tests where in the event that you pass them, you actually fizzle. I believe that it doesn't make any difference. Who truly minds? I likewise found that faltering the test a lady tosses at you doesn't imply that she won't accompany you. Rather, it'll just imply that she doesn't regard you. For most folks, the genuine test is, would you like to get laid or would you like to really be regarded? The response is self-evident, and we see everything around us today. Folks would prefer to bomb the test a lady is tossing his direction and date a lady with lower commercial center worth so he can have intercourse and be to some degree sure that she won't have the option to effortlessly supplant him that. If a person has any desire to date a higher status female or one that is of equivalent commercial center worth, he must breeze through every one of the assessments to keep her to some degree certain about being with them. I meet folks like that from time to time. They finish each assessment their better half tosses at them, yet it doesn't end there since they continually need to pass what she tosses his direction, and so he can never unwind. He begins to become sort of distrustful. I have female clients and their spouses finish this assessment every single time. However, at whatever point myself or some other person pose them any basic inquiry, they right away go into all-out attack mode as though we are trying them as well. Concerning the trial of getting a man to lay down with her so not long after they meet, the lady does that to get a responsibility from him. In any case, by doing that, they're really uncovering to you that they are harlots by laying down with you immediately. There's no great explanation to call a lady a harlot since, supposing that they're in their mid to late 20s or 30s and unmarried. They're all essentially terrible ladies and harlots, since they can't utilize their intimacy to trap a man at that point. A lady that neglects to get responsibility from a man bombs her own tests and formally turns into a harlot. That is all I must say for now. Much appreciated, Stefan, for your theme. Remember to crush that like button. Gratitude for taking your day-to-day portion of red pills, and recall a red pill daily keeps the testing harlot away. Partake in the remainder of your day and good health.